This video will not come as a surprise to many, where for years the nudge units or media establishment have consistently pushed all sorts of narratives and propaganda on the masses, and it doesn't take a genius or a pattern noticer to see how they're doing it. But in this video, I have concrete, hard evidence of them doing it. So I've been investigating the UK government's collaboration with television broadcasters to influence content of fictional and factual programming. I'm covering periods between 2020 to the present, from the beginning of COVID all the way up till post-pandemic narrative planning. Whether this narrative influence was used to promote the following: public health messaging, i.e. COVID-19 or vaccination, stay-at-home compliance. We saw a lot of that during the time of trying to nudge lockdown skeptics into staying at home, climate change and environmental awareness, social cohesion, or anti-extremism themes too. Now, you may remember some fictional television series such as Coronation Street or EastEnders pushing certain narratives onto the public to shape the public opinion, such as this one, for example.
You won the lottery?
Oh yeah, man. You could say that again. Got my second vaccination?
Already? Oh, good for you. I'm due my first one later today. I'm calling it my superpower. Make me that bit more invincible.
Science is a wonderful thing, you know.
Oh, rather you than me.
Oh, don't tell me. You're one of them anti-vaxxers.
I mean, you must admit they pushed it through too quick. Lab rats, that's what we are. No, I ain't having any of that rubbish pumped into me. 20 me fags, please. And Dolly Parton, she can say what she likes. I mean, normally I'm with her all the way, but who knows what it's going to do to us in 5, 10 years' time.
Well, let me tell you what I do know. Last year, I was lying down in a hospital bed gasping for breath. Thought it was all over. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. COVID, man, it'll kill you faster than them fags.
Some of the best scientists have worked on this. But you reckon you know better? How's that PhD working out for you, Karen?
Yeah, well, I've got plenty of time to think about it, you know. Being much younger than you.
Oh, well, you want to worry about getting to my age if you carry on thinking like that. After everything we've been through this year, can't help some people.
Now, before these documents were released, my original Freedom of Information request was delayed for weeks. The Department of Culture, Media and Sport confirmed that they did hold such information within the scope, but they didn't release it right away. Instead, they triggered a clause under the Freedom of Information Act that allows them to extend the response deadline in order to apply what's called a, quote, public interest test. Now, specifically, they cited Section 36 of the Act, which relates to information that, if disclosed, could, quote, prejudice the effective conduct of public affairs. So, in other words, the government was concerned that if they released what they have released to me, is evidence, of course, of narrative influence in programming, but it might undermine trust in public institutions or expose something way too sensitive to be shared casually. Eventually, they did release a set of documentation, which I'm going to present in this video, which includes 4 briefings and 4 readouts, confirming collaboration with broadcasters. But the initial delay and justification for withholding the material tells you something extremely important, and that's they knew this was politically sensitive. The document I'm about to show you explicitly references meetings, messaging campaigns, and narrative cooperation with the following outlets: ITV, the BBC, Channel 4, Channel 5, Sky, ITN, Global, Radio Centre, COBA, otherwise known as Commercial Broadcasters Association, and Wireless. Never heard of them, sorry. This was a broad multi-network approach, not just a one-off, casual or isolated relationship. This was all strategically planned. If you would like to see the full redacted email, you can go to my Substack, which I've created an article where this video is embedded within it, and you can see the emails right up close for yourself. And this is all legal, of course. The Department of Culture, Media and Sport has redacted all personal information so I can share all of this with you guys to make it public. But please put in your email address if you would like and subscribe to my Substack. Let's look at the first screenshot then. So this topic is all around the initial ITV collaboration with the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, discussing embedding vaccine messaging. So here's one of the key quotes. Officials at the Department of Health have been in touch with the Department for Culture, Media and Sport about potential assistance from ITV in relation to pro-vaccine messaging. This meeting may offer an opportunity to test the possibility of this with them. This is the clearest evidence we have that the UK government proactively approached broadcasters to explore embedding public health narratives in programming. The phrase test the possibility shows it was part of a larger plan, not just a one-off idea. Let's move on to the next one. This is another screenshot where the topic is all around the government proposing vaccine storylines in soaps, targeting minority and working class groups. Here are the key quotes. Quote, officials at the Department of Health have been in contact with the Department for Culture, Media and Sport to query whether ITV would be willing to assist with pro-vaccine messaging in their content, as well as reiterating public health messages about the safety of vaccines. The Department of Health are keen to engage with hard-to-reach groups, for example, lower socioeconomic and Black, Asian and minority ethnic groups. In particular, the Department of Health has proposed writing to ITV, Joint Department of Health / Department for Culture, Media and Sport letter, to ask them to consider including vaccine storylines in their soaps. An initial readout from ITV's meeting with the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy indicates that they are planning soap storylines related to the environment and climate change, and therefore they may be amendable to the idea of something similar in relation to vaccine messaging. This once again shows that the government not only intended to push messaging, but aimed to do so strategically, embedding it into emotional narratives targeted at specific demographics. It also reveals that this was not the first instance. Soap operas have already been used to promote climate messaging. A friend of mine, I don't know why he watches this, and I've always taken the mick out of him for watching it, but he watches EastEnders for whatever reason. And we were on the phone chatting, and he explained to me that he was watching an episode and then they mentioned geoengineering and cloud seeding. Very out of pocket, very bizarre. And they were talking about things like climate intervention on saving the planet. Very, very obvious nudge. And it was so out of place that it wasn't right. And it wasn't subtle as well. So let's move on to the next screenshot. This one is of ITV agreeing to mental health messaging partnership aimed at the youth. And here are the key quotes. On public health messaging, ITV are talking to Alex Hickman regarding health messaging geared towards a move back to reality with ITV's commercial team, thinking of ways to ensure the advertising agencies are on board with this. Carolyn McCall also confidentially confirmed that ITV have agreed a partnership with the charity Calm that would look to run messaging specifically aimed at the ITV audience. She agreed to provide more detail when it becomes available. This confirms implementation, not just planning, and ITV was already tailoring content to incorporate mental health messaging for younger audiences. It also implies coordination with advertising firms, suggesting multi-platform narrative control. Let's move on to the next screenshot, which shows government pressure on Channel 4 to amplify lockdown messaging. So here is the screenshot, and it says, quote, "What more can Channel 4 do to get out the stay-at-home message, including through deploying your own talent?" So this confirms, it confirms top-down messaging pressure, including a push for presenters and celebrities, mind you, to reinforce government slogans, and in this case, it was lockdown compliance. It's insane. Okay, so the next screenshot is all around narrative planning, around national unity and emotional morale. So here's the key quote. "Broadcasters have a great opportunity to support the nation during a time of uncertainty, including programming that unites the nation. What plans do you have in this area, and how can the government support you in this? It is also vital that key messages, for example around staying at home, reach as wide an audience as possible, in particular younger and middle-aged men. What are you doing here, and could any more be done to reach these audiences?" It's very important, this one, because it reveals that the government wasn't only issuing health guidance, but it was actively trying to shape emotional narratives, right? National unity as a strategic goal, showing how messaging can move beyond facts and into what is known as mood management. And in this huge briefing, which included the Secretary of State, the CEOs for Channel 4, BBC, ITV, Channel 5, Cobra, Bauer, Global, Sky, ITN, you name it, it says, "Accessibility and messages," Tony Hall outlined the BBC's approach and mentioned huge viewing numbers for BBC programmes. 28 million watched the PM's statement last Monday. 8 million viewers are regularly tuning into the 10 o'clock news. The stay-at-home messaging using comedy clips and shared through social media have already been viewed 24 million times. Local radio also playing important roles in the local community. Alex Mahon commented that Channel 4 is particularly good at engaging with young audiences, including uploading new clips to YouTube and launching a fact-check service to counter misinformation. The Secretary of State thanked the broadcasters for their work so far and has asked if there's anything they can do to target messaging at 18 to 24 males or 40 to 55 males to let the Department of Culture, Media and Sport know. There's also another email that stated, "The expanded news, documentaries and reinforcement of PHE guidance, as well as constant stay-at-home messaging on the channel. Jamie Oliver's cooking programme has attracted 8 million viewers, and future plans include Lockdown Art with Grayson Perry and Lockdown Craft, all helping to get the public health message out. On young people and targeting this age group with messaging, Alex Mahon said they would consider how to spread the message through YouTube excerpts of news programmes. For example, Channel 4's YouTube channel has attracted 100 million viewers, and through social media. Also, Channel 4 is considering filming broadcast messages from hosts and talent to reinforce messaging. The Secretary of State has asked Alex Mahon to look into what further Channel 4 can do." So it shows that the government can rebrand entire shows to match government messaging, and that these efforts were monitored and measured for reach and effectiveness. We've all thought that this was the case, and it was obvious to anyone that notices all of these strange patterns. But to have it read back to you through an internal email is just insane. I'm actually really surprised that they gave this to me. Very, very surprised. I think it's important as well to say that this is only a partial release, right? they've only released some documents that have remained redacted, or many have remained redacted. I've not seen any funding agreements, no contracts, no Cabinet Office records have yet to be disclosed, but there is collusion within the Cabinet Office and it was interdepartmental. And I have put forward further FOI requests to dig just that little bit deeper. But I think the biggest question of all through all of this is, how often has this happened without the public knowing? That's definitely something to think about. Like I said, if you would like to read the full emails for yourself, you can do so on my Substack. Link is in the description of all of this. Thank you very much for watching. I have submitted, like I have said, more emails to try and uncover more information. I have a feeling that I think they've given a bit too much already. So who knows what's going to be next? Stay tuned. Thank you very much for your support.